Okay, so we are working on our review for our module on systems of equations. So we're going to work through this, and the review will actually probably end up being divided up into a couple of parts. But let's go ahead and get through the first part of the review. So looking at the first section, this time it tells us to use the graph to solve the system of linear equations. So we're going to graph the lines and find out where the lines intersect. So if I look at this first equation, I need to know that m, we're talking y equals mx plus b, coming back to our slope-intercept form. And we know that our m is the slope and our b is the y-intercept. So looking at our first equation, the m is 1 with slope. It's good to think of it as rise over run. Our b is 2. So let's go ahead and graph it. B, begin with the y-intercept. The line crosses right here at 2. And then rise 1, run 1. I'm going to repeat that pattern to create my line. I'm going to do the inverse of that pattern. Down 1, left 1. Keeping on repeating as far as I can go. And then connect my dots. Okay, second line. We need to find our slope, our m. This time it's -1, which equals -1 over 1. Okay, b, there's nothing out there. So really it's like there's a +0 out there. So our b is 0. So right here in the middle is our b. We begin with the y-intercept. This time I'm going to go down 1, right 1. We have a negative slope. Keep repeating the pattern. And then I go the reverse of that. Up 1, left 1. There's where they cross. I'm going to keep going to make my straight line. So this right here is our answer. So we've got to write the point. Like, where is that? What is the graphing coordinates for that? Well, if we go, we always list our x first. So our x is right here, -1. Our y, we go up 1. So our answer for number 1 is -1, 1. Now, moving on to number 2. Same thing, using our graph to solve it. So, our first equation, m is -4. Remember, I'm going to think of it as -4 over 1. Our b is 1. So, graphing it. Begin with the y-intercept. -4 is down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right 1. Repeating that pattern. Now I'm going to do the opposite. Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left 1. Okay, it's hard to make a straight line on the board, but there's our line. Okay, looking at our second equation. Well, we have a little bit of a problem because it's not in slope-intercept form, so we need to get it there. So I'm going to rewrite it. 8x plus 2y equals 8. Need to do some reorganizing. So I want to move my 8x. I'm going to do the opposite, minus 8x. That's going to leave me with 2y equals, I'm going to flip-flop these two. Okay, I want them in the opposite order. So I'm going to -8x plus 8. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. That gives me y equals -4x plus 4. So, now we're ready to find our m. Our m is -4, which equals -4 over 1. Our b is 4. Okay, notice that our slope of this equation and our slope of the first equation are the same. So let's go ahead and graph it though. B is our y-intercept, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our slope, -4, so down 4 over 1. I'm going to repeat the pattern, make it our line. Okay. Now, it's hard to tell because I'm drawing on the board where I don't have a ruler, but those lines are parallel. They will never cross. They will run beside each other forever and ever, which means that your answer to this systems of equation is no solution. When the slope is the same, but the y-intercept is different, the answer is going to be no solution. Okay, now let's look at our next system of equations. This time, instead of using a graph, we're using substitution to be able to figure out what x and y equal. So when I look at number 3, it's really nice because, you know, we already know what y is. Y is all by itself, so I know that y is 1/4 x plus 5. So I'm going to use that to help us figure out exactly what those two variables equal. So I'm going to take that and we're going to substitute it in for y right there. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite that equation, x plus 2. I'm not writing y. I'm going to put in, and substituting in 1/4 x plus 5. Okay, now solving it. Got to distribute. 2 times 1/4 x. That's going to be 2/4 plus 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, now I'm going to actually back up right here because I know that 2/4 simplifies to 1/2. That will make things a little easier as we're working. Okay, now combining like terms. Okay, x plus 1/2 x plus 10 equals 4. So combining our like terms, we have an x, we have a 1/2 x. Well, 1x plus 1/2 x, I could write it as a 1.5 x, but I'm going to write it as a 3/2 x plus 10 equals 4. Minus 10, minus 10, that leaves us with 3/2 x equals -6. Now, to be able to get x by itself, I can either just put it in as divide by 3/2, but really when you divide by 3/2, we are multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 2/3. I'm going to do that on this side, multiply by 2/3. Okay, so on the left, that'll cancel and leave me with x. On the right, okay, -6 times 2 is -12 over 3, which equals -4. So x equals -4. Now I'm going to take that -4, I'm going to take it and put it all the way back in our second equation up here. So y equals 1/4. I'm not writing x, I'm putting in -4. 1/4 times -1, or 1/4 times -4, that's going to end up being -1 plus 5, so y equals 4. Now let's take those 2 points and put them together. So our x is -4, our y is 4. This is our answer. Looking at number 4. Number 4, we do not have either x or y isolated. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that on the top one because I see y already has a coefficient of 1. It looks like an easy one to reorganize. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 3x plus y equals 10. I'm going to go minus 3x minus 3x. That leaves me with y equals 10 minus 3x. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it right back in for that y. So negative 9x minus 3, not writing y. I'm going to put in 10 minus 3x equals negative 30. Distributing, negative 3 times 10 is negative 30. Negative 3 times negative 3x is a positive 9x. Bring down everything else. Okay? Combine like terms. Negative 9x, positive 9x. Those combine, but they are opposites, so they equal 0. So we are left with negative 30 equals negative 30. The variables cancel. We are left with a true statement. That means that there are infinitely many solutions. If we wrote this equation here in our slope-intercept form, we would find that it would be identical to this equation as well. So, infinitely many solutions. Okay, looking at number 5, still solving systems with substitution. I'm going to look at this second one. This is going to be the one that I choose to reorganize to be able to work with. So I'm going to go plus 10x plus 10x. That's going to leave me 2y equals negative 6 plus 10x. Divide by 2. Leaving me with y equals negative 3 plus 5x. So I want to take this right here and put it in up here for y. So 5x minus, not putting in y, I'm going to put in negative 3 plus 5x equals negative 1. Okay, I have to distribute the negative. Negative times negative 3 is a positive 3. Negative times 5x is a negative 5x. 5x here equals negative 1. Okay? Combining like terms, have a 5x and a negative 5x. Those are opposites. They will equal 0. So we are left with 3 equals negative 1. Variables canceled out. We are left with a false statement. So on number 5, there is no solution. Looking at number 6. Reorganizing it. I'm going to reorganize right here because that one's real easy. Just plus y. So that leaves me with x equals 11 plus y. This time, I'm going to take it, put it in for x. So, writing our equation. 2, I'm not going to put in x. I'm going to put in 11 plus y. Plus y equals 19. 2 times 11 is 22. 2 times y is 2y plus y equals 19. Combining like terms, we have 3y minus 22 on both sides. That leaves me with 3y equals negative 3. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Y equals negative 1. The second part will